Hi everybody, welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris here with a new video. We're trying something a little bit new here. It's a section called Hear Me Out, where we're going to talk about some topics that may be a little bit controversial, a little bit debatable in amongst the Newcastle United fan base. So we're going to get stuck right into this one, which is one that I threw out there for the first one, which would be really interesting to hear what everybody has got to say about this in the comments. It's an interesting one, but we'll get stuck right into it in a minute. Before we do, just a little reminder, if you haven't checked us out before, please click that subscribe button. We'd love you to come and join us. We're on about 2,500 subscribers, so loads of room for you. Smash that button, come and join us, all free content and Evermore. 2 weekly shows, Mondays and Wednesdays, and pop-up videos just like this one you're going to watch. So hear me out. What am I talking about? Well, I am talking about who is better. Who is better between Allan Saint-Maximin, ASM, and Hatem Ben Arfa, HBA. Two number 10s, two French wizards, two players that completely cast a spell on us during the time in Tyneside, but also two very frustrating players on their day as well. So I've got my opinion on this, and I'm going to try and get some stats to back it up. My stat computer is in the shop today, unfortunately. Ergo's a little bit busy, so I've tried to make shift on the stats. But we're going to start off with our current number 10, this fella here, Allan Saint-Maximin. A real cause of frustration, I think, for a lot of Newcastle fans. I don't remember people getting as wound up by Ben Arfa as they do with ASM. Personally, that was my opinion. I don't get as wound up. I didn't get as wound up with Ben Arfa as I did with ASM. By and large, we were shit when Ben Arfa was here as well, except for the one season we finished fifth, and he was phenomenal that season, which most of his good stats probably contribute towards that season. But you know, I don't hate ASM. Before anyone starts jumping in the comments, giving a shit, I don't hate ASM as a player. I think he's a phenomenal footballer. I think he's got talent for days. You know, he can beat any player on his day. He's got pace. He's got, you know, elastic hips. He's got tricks. He can score goals. He can thread beautiful passes through when he wants to. But he's incredibly frustrating because he seems to want to beat a man, and beat a man, and beat him again and again and again and again and again. He doesn't seem to be able to play a simple pass. The difference, I think, the main difference for me between him and Ben Arfa, which I'll get more into in a minute, was I think Ben Arfa was a bit more direct. He would beat that man, and then he would make a forward movement. He'd either go in on goal, or he'd pass it to Cisse or Bar, or you know, or he'd square it to Kabay or something like that. You don't see a lot of that with ASM, in my personal opinion. I think he overcomplicates the play. I think he does the most difficult thing when the easier ball's there as an option. Doesn't get the ball across the box enough for my liking. You know, ASM and Ben Arfa are quite similar in that regard, but I just think that Ben Arfa, for me, had a bit more end product. It certainly seemed to be that way. Maybe I've got rose-tinted spectacles. But let's have a look at the ASM stats then, and then we'll get stuck into Hatem Ben Arfa. I'm going big screen for this one because my eyes aren't very good. So this is Allan Saint-Maximin's full Premier League spell with Newcastle United. So 102 appearances, 12 goals in that time. He's had 37 wins and 36 losses. But individually, looking at him individually, in his 102 appearances, he's got 12 goals. That works out at 0.12 goals per match. 1 goal with his head, 10 with his right foot, 1 with his left foot. Shots, 160 shots, 68 of those are on target. So that gives him a shooting accuracy of 43%. He's hit the woodwork 3 times. Big chances misses 11, but his team play, which is probably more important for these two players, you almost sacrifice the defensive element for these two players because you just expect them not to track back. Very difficult for ASM in the current Newcastle United team, as the manager likes to have that, you know, that tracking back and that kind of discipline in the side, whereas Newcastle managers, when Ben Arfa was here, didn't have that. So looking at it, his team play in that spell, he's got 16 assists, passing 1,768, I believe that is. So 17 and a half passes a match, 24 big chances created, and in that time, 146 crosses. So for a winger, 146 crosses in 102 games is what ASM is produced. So, you know, you could argue and you could say that he hasn't always had the best strikers there. He said that in an interview as well. He was quite honest about that. You know, we've got Callum Wilson, we've got Alexander Isak. I think, you know, when talented wingers like ASM or Ben Arfa have those players in the middle, those stats improve, you know, exponentially, because they've got a player who can read their movement, read their runs, read the ball, and put it in the back of the net. And for a winger, that's manna from heaven. You know, you look at Nobby and Robert, their stats were absolutely phenomenal when Alan Shearer was standing in the middle of the pitch. putting the ball in the back of the net when Bellamy was there to give him that extra run as well, to pull the defenders out wide, or possibly just find some space on the shoulder. Solano and Robert's stats were phenomenal. So yeah, maybe a little bit unfair, I suppose, in many ways to judge the two different eras. But for me personally, moving into the other player, this is the man for me. I firmly believe out of the two of them, the Ben Arfa was the better player. And hear me out, as I said in the title. So before I get into his stats about Hatem Ben Arfa, we've got to remember this kid had a serious leg break when he come here, thanks to that filthy bastard Nigel de Jong at Manchester City with an atrocious X-rated tackle that I wouldn't even dare show a photo of, because you might be sick all over your breakfast or your lunch or your tea, wherever you're watching this video. And Ben Arfa was still unbelievable when he come back from that injury. What would he have been like if he hadn't had that really bad break? He could have been even better than what he was. On his day, this kid was unbelievable. Pace, skill, can score a goal, can create a goal, can beat a man. Personally for me, I think Ben Arfa was a better player, arguably in a better Newcastle United side as well. We had Cisse, we had Bar, we had Cheick Tiote, God rest his soul, we had Johan Cabaye. At the back we had we had Santon. We had Tim Krul. We had a good side, a decent side. We had Ryan Taylor in there as well. Joey Barton. We had some good players in there. When Ben Arfa was here. In terms of surrounding yourself with quality players, and he stood above all of them. He was that match when he was the game changer. The only issue possibly with Ben Arfa was his mentality. When he come back from pre-season, he was overweight. Everyone called him Fatum Ben Arfa, and he got sent to Hull, and he was shit at Hull. Probably thanks to Steve Bruce, I'd imagine. He probably took him out for a few kebabs. And then he come back and he watched us in the crowd, which gave him kind of cult status as well. But I always felt that Ben Arfa was still brilliant, but playing way below his level. Whereas I think ASM, I think he's been playing at his level, and I don't think he's as good of a player as Ben Arfa was. That's just my honest opinion. But we'll look at the stats and we'll give them a fair course of comparison here as well. I know what Mark would say if he was here, but I'm going to. This is my show. I'm going to give you my take on this. Sorry, Mark. So this is Ben Arfa, 84 Premier League appearances. I can't remember if there was one or two for Hull, potentially. I don't know if there was. Tell me if you think that in the comments and we'll engage with you. But 84 appearances, 13 goals. So he's got more goals than ASM per appearance, 27 wins and 39 losses. So not as many wins, and obviously slightly more losses. So that gives him a goal ratio of 0.15 goals per match. You can see no headed goals. So unlike Ben Maximin, he didn't score with his head. One with his right foot, 12 with that one to the left peg of his, 132 shots, only 38 of them on target. Some absolute fucking snorters, though, by the way. Everton and Villa, I think, and Fulham as well, ring a bell. My God, that one against Fulham was electric. But he only had a 29% shooting ratio. He hit the woodwork 3 times, weirdly enough, same as Saint-Maximin. But in terms of his assists, he only had 10 assists. I think that's 1,843 passes. A bit blurry on the picture there. 188 crosses, so more crosses than Maxi, and a 24% crossing ratio, which unfortunately we didn't have the data for Maxi on that one. But 14 big chances created for Hatem Ben Arfa. I mean, for me, as I said, going back to the two players individually, you put Hatem Ben Arfa from that season we finished 5th into this side right now with Wilson, with Alexander Isak, with Joe Linton, with Bruno, with Willock, who can make those runs as well. And for me, Ben Arfa is the better player out of the two. No doubt about that in my mind. I think that if Ben Arfa was in this squad right now, prime Ben Arfa, the one I just showed you, back in that season when we finished 5th, back in the season of the Bolton goal, which, my God, what goal that was. I think he's a better player, hands down. But like I say, hear me out. That's my opinion. You guys may have a different one, but let us know what you think in the comments below. We always like to engage with you. And as I mentioned at the start, if you like this kind of thing, smash a subscribe. I'd love you to come and join. There's loads of room for your free content here. If you can like the video, it really helps get it around YouTube as well. Let us know in the comments if you do like this type of thing, and we may very well do another Hear Me Out. We've got loads of topics lined up, some juicy ones. as well. Whether Kevin Keegan is to blame for us losing the Premier League title, or is it David Bailey? Ooh, that could be a good one. But let us know in the comments below if you like this kind of thing, and we'll come back and do some more. Until then, this is Chris signing off. Let's keep supporting our team of Core United. Thank you to both of these players for putting in some unbelievable shifts in a black-white shirt. Hopefully for ASM, there's way more to come as well. And we'll catch you later. Cheers. Bye-bye.